You briefly through what Save the Children does in the area of child online protection and give some examples of how we have managed to engage with parliamentarians in Denmark, and hopefully that will give you some food for thought also to bring back home. Requested before. I work for Save the Children, I was mentioned, the Danish branch of the Global Alliance. I'm also part of the European group that works against child sexual exploitation. Furthermore, we have since 1st September 2008 initiated the NGO Alliance in Europe called ENACSO, so the European NGO Alliance for Child Safety Online. Save the Children work in 27 countries all over the world, has offices in 27 countries all over the world, and are active in 130 countries all over the world. Our work is based on the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. We've been combating in Denmark child sexual abuse material since 1998, so that's anything that has to do and depicts the crime of a child being sexually abused. We also do awareness campaigns and research into children's use of interactive technologies in order to understand how we can prevent abuse from happening. We work with the police, we work with ISPs, with mobile networks. We work with pretty much anybody who has a contact or act as an intermediate between children, new technology, and potential harm or potential good experiences. Technology is not only giving negative experiences. You know, we all know it's a great tool for empowerment of children and making them grow up in a more connected and more wired world, and all the positive things that comes with it. We're also part of a ministerial task force on combating child sexual abuse, which is currently being shaped. So right now it's a bit too early to explain who is participating in it and what their roles are. ENACSO, which is the European mission, the European network, our mission is basically to promote actions and policies to protect children online. We need to build the basis for doing advocacy around the world, and that is done by actually creating a level playing field. So all the agencies that are part of ENACSO will have a common understanding of what the problems and what the solutions are, and tools given to them in order to be able to bring that into action. We also develop we create common policies. One can say that one country has one policy, but it might not always be the appropriate policy for the other countries. But you cannot hear. I think I'm being...
Does anybody need translation from English?
I think it's Spanish, or is it both who has problems?
Yeah, but I think everybody in the room can get it in English. And it's not.
Can everybody raise your hand if you need translation in other languages?
Does anybody need translation?
Maybe we should say this in Spanish or French. I can't.
Okay, cool.
No, it doesn't look like it.
Okay. Please raise a hand if it's a problem and I need to go into a different language, which I probably won't be able to, but I can try. Finally, we try to influence relevant policies and strategies at national, European and international level, hence our presence here at the IGF as well, which we of course welcome as an opportunity to speak to interested stakeholders. Just brief on the ENACSO network, we got 13 countries covered, 14 members. John, who's speaking after me, is also part of it, as well as our colleagues from NSPCC, who is further down the room here. The intention is to be European-wide coverage, so all countries in the European Union, 27, will eventually be part of this, and we will have associate partnerships with NGOs and other key stakeholders outside the European Union as well. So of course we welcome any interest that you might have in teaming up with us, so we can have a discussion on how we can actually make this work better, work together. Can you hear me in the back? Yeah? Okay, fine. The role we find is that basically there's a societal responsibility in protecting children in general. So we need to protect children who are at risk of being sexually abused and exploited and harassed. The internet is often seen as a separate entity, a different part of life, and not merely connected to the environment the children they are operating in. That's a big error, because they don't see it as two different worlds. They see it as one continuum. So what they do offline, they will do online, and it's one and the same thing for them. So when we discuss policies and legislations, we need to see this as being intertwined. We believe interagency cooperation and the concept of working together is the key to this, to create better policies and legislations. You have to have international, national and local governments speaking together and actually exchanging information and experiences. Law enforcement cannot on their services, and this needs to be improved as well. Childcare professionals do not understand the internet or online related issues. They need to collaborate and understand it as well, and that can only happen if they speak to the other stakeholders to create a common understanding of what the problems are and being able to identify the solutions. NGOs have the same problem. Enaxo is actually a tool to heighten the quality of the NGOs in countries that are in need of this, so that we can create substantial capacities and expertise in these countries, so that country is able to act upon the loopholes and the challenges that are here. Academic institutions, same thing. General public, we all know that in order for general public to actually adopt things, they need to have confidence in it. Sometimes 2 or 3 stories that comes up with children being sexually exploited or any other sort of financial fraud, like scams and phishing, they might deter people from actually to engage with this tool called online services or e-services in general, and that's not really helpful. So they need to be in the discussion as well, and whoever's collaborating in this issue needs to sort of also depict what real problems are here and what solutions can be brought to improve it. As I mentioned before, we are creating a cross-ministerial task force together with stakeholders, and we see this as one of the key issues in order to be able to create this common playing field where we all understand what we're talking about and we all agree on terminology and we find solutions where all stakeholders are involved. Just to mention 3 ministries that are basically currently involved in this: Ministry of ICT, of course they regulate the internet, they have insight into it, and they actually oversee the implementation of different services, so they are key to this, but very often they don't understand issues related to child online protection, so they would need to come in and understand what we're doing, and we would need to inform them, and the dialogue will also put on the table new developments and how we can go in, and instead of creating possibly laws, we are able to put in measures in place to regulate or self-regulate or co-regulate. Ministry of Education, very often in the school curricula, internet safety is not there at all. It might be there on a one-off occasion, and I'm not talking just about Denmark or the United Kingdom or Germany. I think it's pretty much almost global. Although I know in Singapore, for instance, or in Asian countries, certain Asian countries, they do have internet safety classes and weeks and themes and so forth, but it's lacking in the majority of the global community. I think it's important that children who are adopting technology very, very fast, that they actually also are given the tools and empowered to use them in a proper, positive and constructive way. And this needs to be done in the school. That's the easiest way to get hold of all the children, because sooner or later, in the majority of the world, they will go through a school system. Ministry of Justice, certain countries, they don't define the internet, and as such is not able to punish crimes that are happening on the internet. It happens in a jurisdiction that is not defined by themselves. So hence, criminals will seek these countries and use these loopholes to actually commit crimes basing their services in these countries and be able to get away from it without actually having to face trial on it. Currently, one of the major challenges in Europe is actually trying to find legal instruments to address the challenges of grooming of children for sexual exploitation. This will possibly have an effect in other countries as well, but this is just, challenges for the European sphere. Another big challenge is basically being able to exchange information on certain types of criminals who can be acting across borders. So a bit that was mentioned earlier today as well. So basically, to summarize, multi-stakeholder collaboration is key. Mutual understanding of problems is necessary in order to create the appropriate measures to address them. international collaboration like the ITU's Child Online Protection Initiative is really crucial. It reaches beyond regions like the European Union or Latin American states or African unions and so forth. It actually does create the global platform for dialogue and hopefully actions. An appeal. Many lessons have been learned by colleagues, my colleagues, your colleagues. It's not necessary to go out and reinvent the wheel. Most of the information is already at hand. Be open-minded, talk to them, seek for advice. It's the best thing we can do because everybody has a responsibility and we need to act upon it. And the more we wait, the more damage we actually are witnessing. So thank you very much.